So I'm Sarah Prendergast. I am the personalised learning leader here at Lostock Primary School. So that kind of title kind of umbrellas the many roles that I have here. One including one being working with children with SEND. So I am the SENCO here, working with disadvantaged children, working with children who are more able and talented. So yeah, so that's kind of my role really here at school. We're a very small one-form entry primary school in Bolton. We have very low incidence SEND, but we have quite a high proportion of children who are more able and talented. So, you know, so this has become kind of a culture for us over many years of making sure that our children are challenged, and you know, that's kind of the context and where we are as a school. We began working with NACE in 2021. We already felt that we had a really high profile of challenge, and that came from or grew from the adoption of the growth mindset strategy or initiative that we had adopted several years before. Because of the children that we work with, because of the children, the context, the backgrounds, because our children are very, you know, kind of aware of achieving highly. Parent expectations is incredibly high. So we wanted to create a culture that children understood that learning was a journey, that, you know, we all get there at different paces, and that it was okay to, you know, to make failings, and that would help us to grow and to learn even more. So we'd already established a culture of challenge, and we did lots of things already that that supported our children. But we really wanted to kind of make sure that we covered everything, and the NACE, the framework really helped us to do that, really helped us to unpick. So the journey to that assessment day then, if we just go through, the audit itself was extremely useful. It helped us as leaders, myself and the leadership team, to really understand every single nook and cranny that you know that embrace this culture, and it helped us to see the wonderful provision that was in place, and gave us that confidence that we were doing the right things, and you know that we were doing well. But it also highlighted some areas that we either hadn't thought about, or that needed some more work. So that was really beneficial in kind of, you know, making that that plan for enhancing provision in place here at our school. So the audit was invaluable, really positive. The consultancy sessions were invaluable, and again, I know that you know, Claire and Laura before, I completely echo what they say about the assessor and having those consultancies. It's all so positive. It really does help to get that external validation that you are doing a great job, that your provision is amazing for your children, but it also really helps you to see how to develop that provision further, to, you know, to make that even better. And the consultation sessions that I had were really invaluable. They really did help to kind of give ideas, and build upon what was already really great practice. So it didn't feel like we weren't doing something correct. It just was really useful to kind of pinpoint those areas that we needed to look at next. So that was really great. Obviously the NACE membership, that led to CPD that was invaluable really. So for myself as SENCO, myself as more able lead, of all children being that inclusion senior leader in school, I found that really beneficial, and I shared that with my colleagues through our own internal staff meetings, to really help them understand the true meaning of challenge, and that, you know, sometimes we consider the word challenge to be a complexity of a task. So it's really challenging because they couldn't do it, and actually we wanted to really remove that concept and really work on that, you know, it isn't just the complexity of a task, it's much more than that, it's deeper than that. So that was really effective, it was really great. The other thing that we felt, or that I felt was really beneficial, was looking into some of the barriers that our more able children face, and in one particular, perfectionism. some of my case studies were related to that, and how some children, their mental health had been seriously affected by the fact that they couldn't accept that they couldn't do it, and that something was challenging them too much. They didn't have the necessary skills and the tools. You know, we hadn't provided them with that to know that it was okay to not get it first time, and it was okay to feel you know, a little bit out of the depth. But through this the CPD that NACE offer, the blogs and the journals, the webinars, you really get a great idea of how to support your children in connection with those specific areas, those barriers. So again, we found that incredibly useful as we led up to that assessment day. Obviously doing the audit and having those CPD opportunities with our staff, we were fully invested. The staff team here are brilliant, from senior leadership all the way down, you know, to our admin team. We're all invested in making sure that our children receive the very, very best education, and the culture of high expectations was just enhanced through that. It helped us to see the wonderful things that we were doing, but also the things that we could make even better, and therefore that helped to improve our curriculum offer for the children, the teaching in the classrooms, you know, through the introduction of retrieval. I know Laura said that earlier. It just echoes with what we've been doing here actually at Lostock over the last 12 months, and you know, that cognitive science and the cognitive load, and really helping children to kind of recall that information to make sure that it is embedded within their long-term memory. So it really helped to enhance the culture of high expectations and obviously the day-to-day curriculum and running of our school. So that was the journey to the assessment day. As Christabel did say, we were really lucky to actually be in a position, after the audit had taken place, we were in a position to just go straight to assessment. So within that 6-month period of that initial consultancy, we were able to have our assessment day, which again just felt incredibly, we felt incredibly proud of that, you know, and it kind of inspired us to just want to do even better. So that journey to assessment day was really positive for us. We found it really useful. So we did it, and I know throughout the award, finding all of my evidence and justifying the question of so what was something that constantly played on my mind. So we've done it, so what? So that happened, so what? So what is that impact? What, you know, what is next? So the assessment day was obviously a real celebration of the hard work and commitment that the whole school has invested to challenge for all children. Obviously, you know, hitting to the top, but also making that accessible for all children. But the profile of our culture for challenge became so much more watertight. Staff were able to articulate their understanding of challenge and what that meant. They were able to share strategies that they were using in their classrooms. They were offering each other advice, and we became kind of ambassadors in our own rights, really, and supporting each other in terms of next steps and things like that for children within our own classes. The pupils were able to articulate so wonderfully on assessment day. We were so proud of them, and not just the more able children, but you know, the wider community of children, being able to explain what challenge means and what challenge looks like in their classrooms. We created a video where our more able children and then a group of other children were sharing their perception of what challenge meant, and it was really rewarding to see that the work that had gone into the audit and the evaluation and looking at the framework had really had a huge impact on those children. And then of course from that, parents as well. So the publication that we put in the local newspaper, we do report a newsletter every single Friday here, and of course it did go in the newsletter at every single opportunity we got, but the newspaper, the profile there was insane. We had people ringing up the school. We had people in the street. Our head teacher often greets the children in the morning and at the end to say goodbye, and members of the community were stopping to congratulate us on our award, and it became such a huge talking point for us in the local community. Not only that, but our open day for prospective parents. A lot of the time our parents do ask, how do you challenge children? How do you make sure that children who are more able are getting the suitable challenge? And we're always able to give those explanations, but this time we had the tool, we had that reference to that newspaper article, and many of them had seen it, so again it just kind of helped us to validate and share widely that wonderful practice that we have here. I think we did a lot of work with growth mindset, like I said, over the years. So we began that in 2000. I think we began that 2013, and that kind of culture has been embedded. But what tends to happen sometimes is key ideas do get a little bit. You just talk it and you live in it and you breathe in it. But do you still understand it? Do we still really understand that vision that we want our children to have? So we definitely noticed that the framework helps us to reignite that vision, that learning is a journey, and we will all achieve our goals with that determination and perseverance. So again, it was just remarkable to see the children were so articulate. Their oracy was fantastic, and it just helped us to see that it had been extremely beneficial for that realignment of that growth mindset approach. We talked briefly just about this. Actually, parents are proud to send their children to a school where everyone has equal opportunities to be challenged and support to achieve their goals. So even like I said, people coming up to us in the street, so people who are not parents of children here, congratulating us on our kind of successes and what their view was on that, for the community and what that meant. So it was really such a proud moment, and staff were even more dedicated to supporting pupils who are more able, and one of the particular things for us through the framework, the identification through the analysis, was about identification and how we did that. And one of the ways that we introduced or built upon was pupil leadership. So having children who are subject ambassadors, and working alongside the subject leaders to scrutinise curriculum intent, to help shape implementation, what it would look like, and to go and observe lessons, to look at particular areas of best practice in connection with challenge, in connection with cognitive science and that kind of retrieval and memory. So children and the staff, have just been so committed to kind of really helping our children to develop their own skills in seeing it for themselves and identifying it, and then suggesting amazing ideas to make things even better. So listening to the children and really having them have a huge impact in what happens next in their school, with their learning. So that was so what. And then next, what are we doing next? So like Chris said, it's not just an award that you get a certificate for and you've achieved it and that's it. There are next steps, and certainly we will be working towards some of our next step recommendations, one of them being about enhancing further that identification process and making it really explicit, and also that student pupil ambassadors, and making sure that children continue to build on that. We will obviously continue to evaluate our provision for challenge, and of course remain a member of the NACE community to ensure we're always up to date with that latest research. We find the NACE website, the CPD, the tools on there are extremely valuable, and really do give you that kind of performer to evaluate yourself and put your next steps into place. And we will obviously endeavour to create challenge opportunities for all our pupils, and we will always have high expectations for all of our children. Fantastic award. We really enjoyed it from start to finish, and we are really proud to be kind of up there really in the world of challenge, and we know that as a school we are completely invested in making sure that continues, and we'd love to be reaccredited in a few years' time.